Alright guys, in this video I'm going to do something that I should have done a long time ago. I'm going to show you how to self-host your own n8n environment on DigitalOcean step by step, and also add a very important security feature, and also give you some notes on how to do this securely and effectively in a way that's sustainable. So I think that's very important if you're going to set up your n8n environments. I've seen other videos on this as well. And one thing that I'm really missing is some extra guidance and also some instructions on how to set it up securely in a way that you can actually depend on it. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to show you step by step actually making a new DigitalOcean account, completely new, going through the sign up page. So you know that there's nothing prepared in advance. If you follow along step by step, exactly as I show you, you will have your own self-hosted n8n environment by the end of this video. So most of my videos are about make.com, but I think that self-hosted n8n, that's the primary platform that we work with right now to deliver automations and AI agents to our clients. I think it's incredibly powerful, and just this page already shows it. Eventually, make.com is an amazing platform. I think make.com is great, but eventually you're going to run into problems with, of course, flexibility, but also pricing. So as you can see, every time you go up a tier, and especially the Teams tier is something that you really want if you're building an automation agency. But the more you go up in pricing, the more expensive it becomes. And self-hosting n8n is like not even 0.5% of that cost per operation. So yeah, that's why I think this video is very important, and it's going to help you guys out a bunch and a lot. And I'm going to make more n8n videos in the future. Right, so to get started, we're first going to make an account with DigitalOcean. Now, this might be very straightforward. Just go to cloud.digitalocean.com and then go to login and go to sign up. And you can sign up any way that you like. I'm going to use email for now. All right, we made an account. So every time you make a new account, you're going to have to fill this, these questions, this questionnaire. So first off, what is my role? I would say data engineer. Well, let's just say developer. What do you plan to use DigitalOcean for? Well, in this case, you could say AI machine learning, but primarily APIs. And how many teammates do you collaborate with? Currently, we have a team of 2 to 5. Verified payment method. So you're going to have to add a payment method in order to be able to set this up. You can use card, Alipay, PayPal. But of course, since this is cloud hosting, you're going to be paying for usage, which still is way less than using something like make.com. But you're going to have to add your details here. All right, so now we're in. We've just set up our first and new DigitalOcean account. First thing you're going to do is let's just follow along with me step by step, and then you'll know exactly what to do in order to set up this self-hosted n8n. So first thing we're going to do is explore our control panel. So of course, this is cloud hosting platform, so that means there's many things that you can do, but just to keep it simple, just to show you how to self-host n8n, we're going to only work with the parts and elements that we're going to need. So what we're going to do, we're going to set up a droplet. We're going to use our region. Now, I personally am in Amsterdam, and always when you want to choose a region, whether it's Superbase, whether it's make.com or DigitalOcean, try to use the region that is closest to your users or to yourself if you're the user, because that's going to reduce latency. All right, so I'm in the Netherlands, so we're going to choose Amsterdam. Data center, well, that one doesn't really matter. I always choose AMS3. And then the image that you're going to choose is going to be Ubuntu. Now you have many more images that you can choose in the marketplace. Now you also have Docker on Ubuntu. Doesn't really matter which one you choose, because we're also going to install Docker. Well, in order to make it a little easier for ourselves, we can also just use this one. Now, if you go down to droplets, now the droplets is going to be your server environment. And the easiest you can do is just go to regular and then choose the cheapest one, which is this one. And then, of course, you can scale up your droplet when you need more CPU. But just to self-host it for yourself and initialize n8n, just choosing this one for $6 a month is going to be perfect. And of course, that's still cheaper than using something like make.com, especially at scale. Additional storage, well, we don't need that for now. Backups, I highly recommend you set up backups. We build these environments for our clients as well. And some of our clients actually don't have backups. And the moment that they use something like a command line that actually edits their server or Droplet, or they try to add some security measures, or something goes wrong when in their terminal, and they lock themselves out, for example, with SSH authentication or any other way that you can lock yourself out, then and they don't have something like a backup, that's really going to be painful, because then you can't go back to a prior version unless you use some very advanced and technical recovery terminals that I'm not going to get into in this video. This might save you a ton of headache, and you might think, okay, I'm not going to set this up right now. I'll do it later, but you might actually forget it and only think about it the moment that you need it. So either weekly or daily backups is going to be perfect. Just for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use weekly backups. Well, actually, I'm not going to set it up because this is just for the video, but any other, so we're not actually going to use this ourselves at Flireo. But with any other client or any way, anytime that I set up n8n, I would use a backup plan. Now, in this video, I'm also going to use a password protected droplet. I don't recommend that for you either. So I would recommend setting up an SSH key. This is just not something I'm going to cover in this video, perhaps in a future video, but I would certainly recommend using an SSH key. So basically what the difference is here, you might have heard of brute forcing. You're going to have open ports that anyone can make requests to in your droplet, like for example port 22, which is used for SSH keys. Now the easiest way to explain this is using a password and no fail to ban, which I'm going to get into later, which we're actually going to set up. Attackers can make many requests to your server and try to guess that password, and that's basically brute forcing. And many times when they're not actually guessing that password, they're sending so many requests because they see this open port with a password possibility that either they guess the password or they're going to bring down your server because they're making so many requests. So it's making, even if they don't guess your password, it's making it attractive to try and guess your password, and then they're going to bring down your server with all these requests, and yeah, your n8n is not going to be working when you have an attacker like that. And when you have SSH keys set up, oftentimes attackers can see that, and it's not even interesting to attack you because they know they're probably never going to guess that SSH key. But for the purpose of this video, we're just going to secure it with a password and then use fail to ban in order to make at least the password secure. But if you want to completely cover yourself for attackers, I would say set up an SSH key. ChatGPT can help you with that. It's basically a key that you save to your computer that you use in order to log into your terminal. All right, so for this password, this goes without saying, make this an incredibly long and complicated password. So as you see right here, at least 8 characters. There should be many more characters than 8. Must contain 1 uppercase, must contain 1 number, and cannot end in a number or a special character. So I'm going to use something like this, lastpass.com, that you see right here, in order to generate that password. And you're going to want to make that as long and complicated as possible, basically. So let's see, numbers, uppercase, lower, and okay, perfect. Let's set that up, copy that, and then paste that in there. So this one, it goes without saying, has to be very secure. Okay, add improved metrics. Well, if anything's free, you should probably turn it on. Advanced options, let's see, enable IPv6. Well, that's a way of setting up your server that's going to protect you or situate you to be well positioned for the future. In the future, many more requests are going to be made through IPv6 networking. So let's just turn that on. Add initialization scripts, add scripts to run initial droplet boot up. Great for repetitive or initialized test. Okay, we don't need that for now. Finalize details, quantity. Okay, we're just going to want one droplet, and this is just, you can name this anything. This is just what you're going to use in your own project just to recognize it. In this case, we might just call it n8n demo, like that. Tags, we're not going to use tags. It's just some way of managing your droplets. And then we're going to create that droplet for $6 a month. Perfect. Now it's going to set that up, initialize it, and then once it's ready, we can continue with the video and the setup. All right, so here we are. We've set up our n8n droplet, but of course it's completely empty. It's just Docker hosted on an Ubuntu environment. So what we're going to do is actually grab this perfect documentation that n8n already has for us. This is going to be my easiest video yet, because we're just going to follow this step by step. And well, of course, having some visual guide on this for you is going to be massively helpful. So that's why we're making this video. So what you're going to do is go into your droplet, click right here, and then click on your console. You're going to be logged in as the root user. It might not be booted up yet. We're going to have to, oh yeah, there we are. So as you can see, the terminal does log in with an SSH key. Now this is one thing that I actually want you to know and remember. Always keep SSH turned on. SSH login might be in the future that you're thinking about doing a different way. But if you turn SSH off, then you can't log into your terminal through the console right here, because it's actually using that. But that's something perhaps for a future video. All right, so you're now in the root of your DigitalOcean Droplet server on Ubuntu, and you're going to want to make a user. This is also very important to know. I've seen this mistake a bunch of times as well. People trying to install n8n into their root folder, which would work, but it's not very manageable. So you're going to want to make a new user and set up your n8n environment in there. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to follow along with this setup right here, just step by step. All right, so let's see what our documentation says. If we scroll down, we're going to log in as, we're already logged in as root user. You can see that right here, root of this droplet. And then we're going to do add user. And you can name this anything. In just in case, I'm just going to call it myself. There we go. And then we're going to give ourselves sudo privileges, basically admin privileges, or you could also say the same level of privileges as the root user. So root privileges. I'm going to type that same username. You can just copy this and then type that in. Oh, let's see. Add user, command add user is not found. Oh, I used the capital there. Oh, we have a bunch of prompts that we have to get through as well. Password, and we're going to set up, let's set up a good password for this one as well. There we go. Symbols, make a nice, long, and complicated one. There we go. Now, this is one thing that might be important to know that people get stuck on. When you insert your password here, or you try to type your password, your user password, you're not going to be able to see it. That's just how the terminal works. You're not going to see something like stars. It's just hidden. You're not going to see it in your terminal. So it is actually typing or pasting. You're just not seeing it. Now, these ones, this is something that's legacy, so you don't even have to fill this in. But just for fun, I'm going to fit it in anyway. But you don't actually have to fill any of this in. Okay, that's actually... press enter on all of these. Yes, information is... This is something that used to be used back in the day, but you don't actually have to fill that in these days. Unless you're like a big enterprise company, but then you probably wouldn't be watching these videos in order to set it up. All right, so login using SSH. Well, in this case, we're not using SSH. We're just using a password. All right, so now we set up our account, and we can give ourselves those sudo privileges, and then we're going to log in as that user. Now, very quickly, because I think this is important to know, every time you want to change something or edit something in your n8n server, you can go here. If you want to log back into the right user, you're going to go here and then add that command again. And then you're logged in as the user that you use in order to set up n8n. All right, so let's get back to the guide. Next step is cloning the repository. So we're going to paste this in here. It's cloning the repository, and then change directory of the root of the repository to the caddy. Here we go. All right, so now we're inside of that caddy. Let's see, what are the next steps? The host operating system, DigitalOcean Droplet, copies the two folders you created in Docker containers to make them available to Docker. And the two folders are Caddy, so your Caddy config, holds the Caddy configuration files, and local files, a folder for files you upload or add using n8n. Now that's one that you might actually use in the future. For example, there is a node in n8n where you can store files to your drive, and that's the folder that you're going to use. So actually, it might be good to remember that, because in your n8n workflows in the future, you might be actually using that a lot, and it's a really powerful tool. Okay, so Caddy config, this is the one that we're going to be working with now. So create Docker volumes, that's the first step. Now let's see if we can actually do that, because sometimes in DigitalOcean you run into your limit and it doesn't allow you to do that. Now, this is the password that we created the first time. So the password for, no, this is the user password actually. Password of the user. So let's paste that in. All right. And then create a Docker volume for the n8n data. Oh, there we go. Sometimes my mouse acts up. All right, perfect. That's all. Okay, and then set up DNS. n8n typically operates on a subdomain, so that basically, in most cases, is going to be n8n.domain and then your domain. I have actually set up or bought a domain for this for the purpose of this video. n8n typically operates on a subdomain, so that's where you open your browser. Then you have your own n8n login in your browser. Create the DNS record with your provider for the subdomain and point it to the IP address of the droplet. Exact steps for this depending on DNS provider. All right, so that's something that we're actually going to have to set up in DigitalOcean here. And I'm going to use this domain that I've got on Squarespace. All right, so we're going to go here. We're going to go back to droplets. We're going to click here on more. We're going to click add a domain. And then we're going to enter a domain. Now let's remember, what was it? I actually forgot my own domain. Let's see. Overview. Oh, blueselect.nl. Perfect. blueselect.nl. Now, many of my videos, people are actually literally copying me step by step. So sometimes I fill in my phone number somewhere or my email address or my webhook. And then I get all sorts of requests from all different kinds of people who are trying to get to connect that way. Just make sure that you're trying to connect or enter your own domain, or else I'm going to get like tons of people trying out this blue select domain. So enter your own domain right here. Oh, and this actually, let's see, does this have to be your subdomain or main domain? This actually has to be your subdomain. I'm quite confident about that. So make sure that you call this something like n8n.blueselect.nl. Or rather, is that true? I actually don't remember that. I'm quickly going to look that up. Does this have to be your subdomain? You can add one easily. Enter domain below and start managing your DNS with DigitalOcean. Quickly going to check that. Add a domain. Yeah, this is your subdomain. Yeah, shouldn't doubt myself. Okay, so make this n8n@blueselect or n8n.yourdomain. And then you're going to get the records here. Now I see many videos adding the NS records as well, but in most cases you're only going to have to add the A record that you see right here. So what we're going to do is go right here. Now this is going to look different for everyone unless you're also using Squarespace. And we're going to add a record, and we're only going to add that A record. So host in this case is just going to be n8n, because in most cases these domain providers are already adding that domain to that by default. So we can just make this n8n. Quickly going to double check what Squarespace does with that, because some providers do, most providers do, some providers don't. So I'm quickly going to check whether you have to enter the full domain here or whether you can just use the subdomain. Let's see, the prefix. All right. DNS. Yeah, it's just, okay. It's just n8n. And the type is going to be an A record. TTL can be as low as possible because you're using a server, of course. And then directs to this IP address. Perfect. Save. It's going to save that record. There we go. And then it's going to connect right here. Now we don't have to add all of those other records, just the A record is enough. And now we've got that set up and pointed at our droplet. So that's great. Then we can use it in our own n8n. So let's grab this one again, and then also the DigitalOcean n8n setup guide. Right, setup for n8n. So now we've set this up. Open ports. Now there's some ports that n8n uses in order to receive requests, to send requests, and all kinds of things and features and nodes that you have in n8n. So you're going to have to open those up. Now, if I remember correctly, you don't actually have, if you set up a new DigitalOcean droplet, you don't have Firewall installed yet. So that's one of the things that I actually wanted to note is, okay, rule added. So you're going to have to execute this anyway, but I think they're also already open by default. So that's one of the security features they're actually going to want to add when you're setting up your own DigitalOcean n8n hosted on DigitalOcean. Look into firewall, UFW, look into fail to ban, and look into SSH keys. Those are the three most important ones. And then also with firewall, you're going to go through all of your ports and try to see if there are any open ports that don't have to be opened. I'm probably going to make a video about this in the future, but especially if you're going to use a password instead of SSH keys, make the password very lengthy and make sure that you add fail to ban so that you can't be brute forced. And there's some new ones in there. You can get bot attacked where many different IP addresses are attacking you at the same time. But in most cases, that's not going to be that's not going to happen to you. And if you do get a very high spike in requests to port 22, if you're ever going to see that, in that case, just make sure to set up that SSH key to protect against not necessarily. Well, if you have a bad password, they're actually going to get in. But if you have a good password, you don't want that kind of requests and traffic in your server anyway. All right, so next step is going to be configure n8n. Oh yeah, we're going to need some environment variables for n8n in order to make it work. So this is what we're going to do. Now, this is just like a basic terminal text editor. So this is the only way that you can actually go in here and type stuff. And what we're going to do here is first the data folder. Now, what was this again? I think it was home at user. Quickly going to look that up. Otherwise, we're going to have to look that up. I don't quite remember what the directory path is. I think it's home/user. Yeah, /home/user, perfect. /home/user, so that's a directory path. Our domain name, of course, is blueselect.nl. Perfect, blueselect.nl. This is the directory path. And our subdomain is going to be n8n. Now, as you can see, main domain and subdomain are separated here. So that's how you're going to use that. And then generic time zone, you're Berlin. And then this one, you're also going to want to set up for SSL certificate creation. That's a certificate that you're going to use in order to make HTTPS connections. That's going to make sure that all of the data that you're transferring through requests like webhooks or API requests in n8n are going to be encrypted and safe in transit. Might be a bit difficult to understand if you're new to this, but just make sure that you add this, the email address to use for the SSL certificate creation. So this can be just your own email address. I'm going to use this one for now. Perfect. And then write that out. So Control O, enter, you don't change the file name, and then Control X, and then you've saved it. So do make sure that you use that. Control O, enter, and then Control X, and then you've saved the file. Yeah, so let's see. Next step is going to be the Docker Compose file, the Docker Compose, the YAML file. We're going to have to edit that one. Nano Docker Compose YAML. So we're going to add this command. Let's see, what are we going to change in here? Caddy needs to know which domains it could serve and which port to expose to the outside world. Edit the Caddy file in the Caddy config folder. Oh, wait, see. Oh yeah, this one, we don't actually have to edit this one. This is just one that you can look into if you're more familiar with it. There's a bunch of things you can edit in here, but basically this one's already set up. So all of these are basically variables that you see right here that's going to grab from a different, so for example, the subdomain and the domain name that we just set up and the generic time zone, those are going to be loaded in by the file that we just edited. So generic time zone is going to be that time zone that you saw in that file. The subdomain is, well, speaks for itself basically, but you don't have to edit this one, so you can just Control X out of it. And then we're going to set up the Caddy file. So we're going to go here, add this one, and this is also just going to be your domain and suffix. So the first one is going to be domain. Now, of course, if you change this n8n into something else, like my n8n.blueselect.nl, you're going to have to change that, but by default, it's going to be n8n, and then blue, wait, see, blue select, and then .nl, of course. There we go. And then blue select .nl. Now, so for some of the more advanced users out there, you can also set a password or an OAuth or basic auth authentication for your n8n right here. That's more of an advanced part of the setup. Perhaps I'm also going to make a video about that in the future as well. But I think that this is currently set up correctly. We've got our domain, reverse proxy. This is our port. Now, of course, this is also a security feature that you might want to get into, look into. You don't actually have to keep this port open since you're using that subdomain in your browser to log into your n8n, your self-hosted n8n. You can actually close that port. You're not actually using that, but for now you can just leave it on. All right, perfect. And then again, we're going to write it out, save it with the same file name, and then use Control X, getting out of that file. Let's see, start n8n and Caddy with the following command. All right, do we already have, I don't think we have Docker Compose set up yet. Oh yeah, we do. Oh yeah, of course, we chose the marketplace Docker on Ubuntu, so that one's already set up. If you chose the other one, which is just Ubuntu with no Docker on it, you're going to have to install Docker in order to use Docker Compose. ChatGPT can help you set that up. It's just a few commands and then you have Docker on your Ubuntu server. All right. Now it's initializing everything, setting everything up, pulling all of the files. And then, as you can see, everything was started. Now let's see, test your setup. In your browser, we can actually visit that domain now. Now it does take some time to actually set up, but we should be able to actually open our n8n. So this is important to know. You can, with your self-hosted n8n, you can make an account once, and then that's going to be your permanent account. You can't make multiple accounts, for example. So do make sure that the email that you use here, the first name and last name, you think about those carefully, and especially the password, make this one a very good password as well. A unique password, save it somewhere. because this is going to be your number one protection with your n8n. Now, of course, there's different things you can set up. You can set up multi-factor authentication. You can set up SSO. You can set up anything with n8n. Well, some of the features are actually enterprise, but make sure that at least this is going to be a very powerful password. I don't know, but I've seen some videos on setting up a self-hosting n8n, and no one actually talks about this, but setting up a great password here is just an important security feature, because this is a publicly accessible domain. So that means that anyone in the world can send requests to this one, and you're going to want to make sure that they can't try out 1,000 different passwords from 1,000 different IP addresses. So make sure that this one is a very powerful one. Now, I'm not necessarily going to show this, show what it looks like when you log in. It's just basic n8n, but okay, you know what? I am actually going to show you what that looks like if you log in. Sport, first name, is Rybergen, and my password. I'm going to generate that right here. Duplicates. So it's probably going to, if you have a good password, it's going to be as long as this one. And I don't want to get those email notifications. I don't actually have to remember this because I'm removing and deleting everything we've built in this video, of course. Now, here's some basic survey, basically the same as when you're setting up n8n in your own environment. Oh, and also make sure to get this license key. This is a very recent development with n8n. You can get free license. I think it was for, I don't remember exactly. You now can add files and folders to your self-hosted n8n, which is great. It actually allows you to better manage your projects. Now, of course, the best version of that is actually the enterprise n8n self-hosting, where you can add projects, but that's way more expensive, of course. But as you can see, we've now set up our n8n environment, just following the docs very closely. Now, there's one thing I'm not actually going to leave you hanging right here, because some of you people actually have some alarm bells ringing, I think, on the security side. So I'm also going to give you the commands, of course, in order to secure this server and at least set up that fail to ban for your password authentication. All right, so I'm actually going to show you how you can use ChatGPT for this. Now, I've done this many times with different security audits, of course, but just for this video, I think it's great to know that ChatGPT can help you very well. In many cases, you can actually copy what's inside of here, copy that, but then ChatGPT, and it will be able to help you. Just make sure that there are no sensitive details in your terminal. All right, so basically we have some steps, and these are just some commands that we're going to add in a row. So we're going to add this. This is just to update our packages. I don't think we need to update them since we just installed them, so I don't think there's a newer version, but just to make sure, we're going to this right here. Oh, they're actually... Oh, okay, perfect. We can upgrade those. Here we go. Now we're going to install fail to ban. This is what we're actually doing. Use this command. Again, I might actually put this into the documentation. Don't be afraid of this. You can just click OK. I might be adding this to the documentation, but of course, if you're watching this, you could probably also just type out what I'm pasting right here. There we go. Just type this out exactly, and it's going to look similar to you. And then we're actually, so this is enabling fail to ban, and then we're starting fail to ban. So basically what this does is, this is all for brute forcing. So attackers trying to brute force your password. And what this does is doesn't necessarily stop brute forcing, but it does stop brute forcing from a single IP. So what some attackers do is they have many compromised computers with different IP addresses, of course, and they try to attack one server with all of those computers at once. Now, Filter ban doesn't necessarily work for that because it only filters per IP address. If there's many different laptops or computers, it's going to identify them as unique users, and it's not going to work. So the most advanced attackers will still be able to hit your server. So that means make sure that your password, if you're using a password, is incredibly good, because that way it will take them a gazillion years in order to actually solve it with an attack like that, a brute force attack. But of course, brute force attacks is still going to be heavy on your server. So that means you're going to get many requests. It's going to take up a lot of your server traffic, and that means it can actually bring down your n8n. And in most cases, if you have SSH keys enabled, it's not going to be attractive for those attackers, because they know already that SSH keys are very strong by default. So there's actually no point in attacking you that way. But in this case, using filter ban, you can at least add an extra layer of security in combination with a very strong password. At least they won't be able, will be incredibly unlikely to be able to compromise your server. All right. And then we're going to confirm whether it's running. Now here we can see active, running since, so now it's since, let's see, 2025, 04. Oh, it was already, oh, this is UTC. Oh, one, I thought it was already running, but it's just one about 2 minutes ago, so that's perfect. Yeah, so there's a bunch of things that we, when we're setting this up for our clients, of course, we go through the entire security audit, make sure that it's completely safe and scalable, and that we don't have to worry about any exposed ports or any type of attack. We do a full security audit and make sure that Droplet is hosted very securely, and also when we're working n8n, make sure that those webhooks and all of those server URLs are protected. All right, guys, so thank you very much for watching. I thought that this would be a very important video for many of you guys, because most of my videos are make.com, and since we're primarily working with n8n, I'm looking to make more videos about n8n in the future. Yeah, I thought it would be a great idea to at least show you how to set up that open source self-hosted environment, because I think that's going to be hugely beneficial to most of you guys. It's most cost effective. You can self-host it. You can have full control. And of course, there's many benefits to that. So that's why I made this video. Now, this is a rough idea of the tech stack that we work with. We primarily work with agents, so AI agents, because most of my videos are about VAPI, voice AI agents. Many of my viewers actually think that we only do voice AI agents, while that's just a part of what we do at Flireo. We do AI agents in general. Sometimes that's voice, sometimes that's chat, sometimes that's like a chat on a website or in a SaaS solution. But many cases, it's also an AI agent on the back end, one that the user doesn't actually interact with, but that does execute functions in order to make certain flows or certain solutions more capable, more advanced and potent. So this is a very rough idea of the tech stack that we work with and that we're most comfortable with. And by the time we're watching this video, we're going to have an updated website, probably. We already have that ready to launch somewhere this week or next week. So if you're interested in working with us, you can visit flireo.com, fill out a form, or send us an email with the email that I mentioned in the description. And also we have our partner program. And yeah, I'm very excited about this program. I'll quickly show you guys what that looks like. Right, so if you go to our member community, I've got a link in the description below. It's at members.flireo.com. Then you can go to work with us. And then we have 3 ways of working with us. So we're always looking for builders that are familiar with our tech stack or want to get familiar with it. We have a list of builders that we actively work with and also brainstorm with, and that we also educate on our way of working. And then we can work together in order to deliver on those projects, aside from our internal team, of course. And then we also have our sales partners. The first thing that I told you about is just submitting your project. You have a project for your own company. You want to build this SaaS solution to sell to your existing customers, or you want to build a solution to reduce costs on your own end. Then you can go here and submit your project or go to our website. Now, we also work a lot with sales partners. So many people that watch my videos have a reach and have the ability to reach out to clients or have an existing network or are great at sales, having a sales team. They see the potential in this AI and especially the AI agent space, but they don't necessarily already have the knowledge or the people or the tools in order to build those systems. We partner up with you in a very specific and very structured way that's very effective, very easy to set up a project and then deliver on that vertically, basically. So what that means is you have a client and a project, you propose that to us, we make you a proposal, you might put your margin on top of that, basically depends on how we work, and then we deliver that project for you. It's a very structured and streamlined way in order to scale and actually grab a big chunk of this AI space. So if you're interested in either of those or any three of those, please visit the members.flireo.com platform, go to this page of work with us, partner or builder, and then choose the one that fits you. And then after clicking that page, you will see some questions. And then also you can instantly book a meeting with me. So I personally do all of these meetings, not someone else from my team, not an external partner. I do all of the meetings that are scheduled through these scheduling links. That's the word I was looking for. And of course, while you're there, please check out the resources from the other videos and our community. And the AI Advantage Kit, I've been getting many questions about them. We're working on it on a more advanced level, but it is currently offline and unavailable until we release it to a new group of people. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested in it, send me a personal message. Perhaps I can make something work. In any case, for now, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of it and anything I can improve on or that I can add. And looking forward to seeing you in the next one.